This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 958 of the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang. Joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Austin, Texas, author, speaker, podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
And from Nashville, Tennessee, he's back in the saddle, artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Derek, it's good to see you, man. It's the first time we've really talked since you were down here and we saw the Magic beat the Warriors. That was a great night.
And you was acting a fool.
Hey.
Oh, tell us more.
No.
Jamie,
so first of all,
Jamie, I low key want to see you at a Magic game, sitting next to Cameron, and I would want to just film your reactions, because this dude, he said it. This is my first game I've gone with him, and he said like he's lit. I didn't know how lit I'm lit is. Nah, this man is another level of lit.
Now, Derek, did you find his methodology, which involves mostly like taunting opposing players and calling refs
by name,
by their first name,
because he's talking to like legendary refs. Who was the ref that was doing it? First off, he was calling the ref out of his name. He was calling him the wrong. Tony Brothers. Tony Brothers is one of the most legendary referees, and he called this man Tony Baker for a whole half.
In the fourth quarter. Only in the fourth quarter. Because I was going Tony only, and I knew it was a B last name, and I just got caught up in the moment.
He's called him Tony Baker.
But, Jesse...
Have you ever been kicked out of a game?
First of all, in the game since then... No, listen, in the game since then, I have literally I've been a little bit more chill because of this. I didn't realize, every once in a while, you have to look yourself in the mirror. I didn't realize how far off the rails I'd gotten. I didn't know that Derek was filming me until he posted it for the public, and the public told me that I had gone off the rails. And so I was like, all right, I need to check myself. I'm telling you the truth. The last two games, I've been way more just like I'm just a fan, just watching the game.
Did the Magic win or lose those games?
At halftime, security guards were coming up to me going, "You're being too quiet. The team is looking at you. You need the security guard." And so I'm going, I have a job to do. Derek, tell the truth. In the fourth quarter, pivotal play and the Warriors Magic game, which we ended up winning, did I not single-handedly get a call overturned?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Listen.
It happened right in front of us.
All right, look, when I tell y'all this play was so pivotal.
I need you to send me this video, Derek.
It was not. It's on my IG. Okay. It was on my stories. I don't know if it's still there, but listen, when I tell y'all, I think that the Magic may have been up by 2 or, tied or something like that. Yeah. And somebody either stepped out of bounds or something. I think it was
right in front of us. Remember, it was right in front of us. One of their players was going up for a layup and went and fumbled the ball out of bounds. And they called it on the Magic having touched it to go out of bounds. It was right in front of me. I lost it. I was telling everybody the truth of what happened.
Tony!
Finally, then the Magic players, they start going like this, like, hey, they look over the coaches, like, if what he's saying is right, we need to challenge this. They go and check. They challenge the play and it got overturned. I'm just saying.
This man really got a play overturned.
You are an asset, Cameron.
He's an asset for sure.
You're slowly making your case to be on the coaching staff. But Derek, this is how far it goes. When I was down there a couple weeks ago, we went to a couple games, and one evening after the game, went to a late night establishment. And anyway, who walks in but a couple of Magic players and their entourages? Well, Mo Bamba, the Magic player made famous by the song a couple years ago, walks up to Cameron. Okay, sees us like just hanging out in there, right? He walks over to Cameron and sits down and goes, "You are the most loyal person I've ever met." And,
Wow.
he's unsolicited. Like he walked over to Cameron. It was like, and then it was I
was my
think it was like
birthday.
Wendell. It was
It was my
Wendell Carter
birthday.
Jr. He was like, "Hey, come here." And Wendell Carter Jr. walks over and he's like, "This is the guy right here." And they're like, "Oh man, he's here!" And like they recognize Cameron and we're very appreciative. He almost got absorbed into an entourage that night. He almost looked at me and was like, "Sorry, man."
I was silent up.
This is an
It was like,
opportunity.
there was a bunch of players, and I was just kind of hanging. I was like, well, you know,
This
maybe
was a clear opportunity to
Peace out to
level
my
up his
friends.
entourage.
See, guys, I just
But
upgraded.
this is the thing that I respect the most about Cameron's fandom. The thing I respect the most about him, I'm a big up you on this because I feel like Cameron is an actual good fan in the sense that Cameron will also he'll also be upset at his team, not in a disrespectful way, but he'll be like, "Yo, I know they could do better than this." And like Cameron knows all of the draft picks. He has an intimate relationship with the Magic and the organization, like the training staff, like knowing who's doing all these different things. And it's like, I think that's good. You know what I mean? Like somebody that is passionate about, you know what I'm saying? Like their team
Cameron,
in that way.
If
Like,
you're not
it's
invited
dope.
to the end of the season party, then I don't.
No, listen.
I need
This
to
is
know
the
that
truth.
that's going to happen for you.
Literally yesterday at the game, a Magic worker comes over to me and says, "Hey, by any chance, are you free tomorrow night?" I was like, "Yeah, I am. What's going on?" And she said, "The executive team is considering some changes to the arena and the game experience and some different things, and they want to have a couple of really core supporters there to get feedback from about some changes they're thinking about making, and they'd love for you to come." They asked me to come over and ask you if you'd come. So I'm going to tonight. I'm going to this meeting downtown.
Cameron, you're on your way to get on the payroll. That's all I got to say.
Oh,
I mean,
come on.
it won't
Let's
be
do
long.
it. Come on.
Bro, no lie. You almost made me a Magic fan. Like, no lie. Like, while I was there, I'm like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm a diehard Pistons fan. OG, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, throwback Pistons fan. Watching this dude's energy for the Magic, first off, made me start being like, I don't even know if I'm a real Pistons fan like that. I think like I'm kind of like, I don't know if I need to, I think I need to do a little bit more.
I'm sure there's
you
some
know?
therapists out there listening and realizing that this is just a textbook coping mechanism of some sort. You know, I get it. Fine. Guilty. I don't care. I don't have a whole lot else going on. I work hard. I play hard. Come on, leave me alone. All right. Okay. Well, hey, speaking of work hard, play hard, we have an amazing guest today. Coming up later, we talk to the one and only Mark Wahlberg is coming.
Mark.
Now, I got to tell you, there's no Funky Bunch. So if you're a big Funky Bunch fan, they're not here today. It's just Marky Mark.
I have a question about. I know Tyler did this interview,
Yes.
and Tyler's previously spoken to Mr. Marky for the magazine and look, Mark Wahlberg's a busy actor, and a few years ago he posted what was evidently his schedule, which involved waking up at, I think his day started around 12:30 a.m. I think he was in bed by 6:30 in the evening, right around dinner time, and started his day not long after midnight, right? Like when most people are going to bed, he's waking up
2:30 in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he it mostly considered the first like 5 hours of the day were mostly prayer and golf, and then it moved on
working
to
out.
weightlifting.
2
and
workouts before breakfast.
Yeah. Now Tyler kind of interrogated him about the schedule last time. Do you know if Tyler circled back to see if the schedule is still in play?
I don't know if he specifically brought it up. I do know that Tyler told me that after they taped the conversation you guys are going to hear later, that Tyler's impression was that he seemed a little tired. And I said, well, when did you talk
he needs to go
him?
to bed.
He said it was like late afternoon. I said, well, that's freaking 10 p.m. to him.
That's Mark.
He's getting ready to go to bed right after your interview. So he had a
late
full day.
afternoon is creeping up on bedtime for Marky
That's what
Mark.
I'm saying.
For last time I checked his schedule, he had one more quick round of golf in him, a quick late weightlifting session. Then by 6:15, he's under the covers. Okay.
All right. Well, before we move the show along, I want to make sure you all know about our new huge launch, Relevant Plus. Not only do you get premium content ad-free, we're dropping new content every week for Relevant Plus subscribers. Exclusive stuff. We get an enhanced digital magazine, an exclusive podcast, but you also get this podcast ad-free and released early. The subscriber version releases on Fridays and Tuesdays, ad-free. The public edition, as you know, because you're listening to it, comes out on Mondays and Thursdays. Now, if you want to get the show earlier and ad-free, make sure to check out Relevant Plus. Plans start as low as $250 a month, and we would love the support. Okay, stay tuned. Up next, it's Relevant Buzz.
I just wanna taste I just wanna taste I just wanna taste I just wanna taste I just wanna cry.
You're listening to Coin. The song is Chapstick. Well, today's show is brought to you by UHSM. Healthcare costs have been growing year after year and can lead to a lot of confusion. Thankfully, UHSM offers great and affordable health for everyone. Unite Health Share Ministries, or UHSM, is a Christian health sharing ministry that puts your health before anything else. Health sharing isn't insurance. The programs at UHSM are member-based fellowships where faithful people can take charge of their own health care. UHSM offers different programs to meet any and all of your needs, from telehealth options to plans that cover the unexpected moments in life. UHSM has something for everyone. For more information, head over to uhsm.org or contact a rep at 800-900-8476. Again, that's uhsm.org or 800-900-8476. All right, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Please welcome to the show Relevant Senior Editor Tyler Huckabee to tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture today. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, everybody.
What's the buzz?
So I don't know how this slice is going to go. I don't know how this piece of buzz is going to go. I'm curious about everybody's reactions, because you may have heard, if you were on Twitter, you may have heard that there's a new head honcho ready to start throwing his weight around Twitter. There's a new boss in town who's going to shape things up over there, and that is, of course, Elon Musk, who bought 9% of the company. He's now the largest individual shareholder of Twitter. He's also on the board of directors. Cost about $2.6 billion to do it. But now he is going to be able to start making some changes on Twitter.com, and he is. Of course, if you follow him, and a lot of people do on Twitter, I think he is the largest following of any CEO on Twitter, far and away. He has frequently complained in the past about the terms of service agreements. He's said that it is not good for democracy because it kicks people off for voicing their minds and their free speech. He was not happy about kicking off former President Donald Trump and some other organizations and people that have been kicked off. And now he's in a position to do something about it. And what that's going to be, we really don't know yet. They're just kind of they've teased a few things, but we don't know much yet. But I am curious how you guys, did you see this news, and how do you feel about Elon getting ready to shake things up on Twitter?
So I know y'all probably get mad at me for I've had some pushback, from the relevant fans about, always, why does he have to bring up race all the time? But I just... To be a rich white man is just the most beautiful thing in the world, because that man said, you know what? You kick some of my friends off Twitter, I'm buying the company and I'm going to change everything that I want to change. I'm like, man, that's some power right there, buddy. Like, I'm like, here's the thing. I'm not even mad. Like, it's not even like a jealousy thing. It's like, it was just like a, dang, all right, okay. I'm saying, just go in there, you don't like the company, buy it. That's buy that mug and just do what you want to do. He did, and it happened like really quick, because remember, wasn't it like one day it's like he announced his ownership, the next day he's on the board of directors, then the next day he tweets out, do y'all want to edit button? That happened in a week. That man got more done at Twitter in 1 week than we have, us poors have been begging for an edit button.
but here's like, part of me is probably like, if you're Jack Dorsey, who stepped down as CEO last year, right? He's the founder. He's got a lot going on. He was the previous shareholder. I kind of think the impression I get, and it's probably not just from Jack Dorsey, a lot of these Silicon Valley guys, especially in the last couple of years, were like, fine, your problem now, bro. Like, Twitter, making decisions about functionality or terms of service sounds great on paper until you actually, like the edit button, for example, right?
Right.
how's that going to work? If I retweet somebody and then they edit their tweet, is the one that's on my feed the edited version or the original
Right.
version?
That's my
Then there's
question.
different
Exactly.
versions out there.
Exactly.
And if I
That's a problem.
retweet somebody, which retweeting is a core functionality of this platform.
Yes.
If I retweet somebody and they edit their tweet to say something explicit, does that mean I retweeted something explicit? Like there's a lot of
Right.
little things, and I'm sure Elon Musk can figure it out. But these aren't arbitrary rules. It's just
Are
what's that?
Sure,
Are you
Elon
sure?
Musk can figure it out.
But the other thing too is like the thing about quote unquote censorship, about it's just enforcing a terms of use policy that is mostly put in place to protect the platform from legal liability, because the same people that are shouting free speech are the ones who want to overturn Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which protects platforms for they can't be held liable for things users post on their site. If that's pulled back, which the former president made pretty vocal that he wanted to do, then you can't not allow them to kick people off or infirm terms of use. All I'm saying is like, my gut feeling is Jack Dorsey is like, good, your turn, man. I want to see how you like it, because it takes a very short amount of time to realize the complexity of these issues and have everyone hate you for arbitrary reasons, for not being able to fix problems that are just completely unsolvable. So, hey, good luck is kind of my reaction.
I got a slight opposing view to that. It's slightly opposing in the sense of this. Is that, to my knowledge, and here's the thing, I don't really know much about CEOs and their scandals, but Jack Dorsey's been a pretty clean guy, right? Am I not mistaken? Does he have a scandal?
I mean, there's not a new
significant.
HBO series telling about his downfall like
Yeah,
there
so
is everybody
I
else.
can't think of a Jack Dorsey.
That beard needs to be trimmed up a little.
Yeah,
That's a
Right,
little.
I can't think of a Jack Dorsey scandal.
like he's on Castaway.
I mean, he seems pretty benevolent. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of the, he's not like Zuckerberg or whatever. Like, he seems more like he's like conscious of, global warming and all those different things. To me, this feels like if Superman stepped down from the Justice League and then Lex Luthor took it over. Like, that's what this seems like. Is like the superhero steps down and then a super evil supervillain. Not that Elon Musk is an evil supervillain, but I'm just like, they seem on the opposite ends of the spectrum of how they kind of view like the world and all those different things. So I'm wondering if Jack Dorsey was just like, oh, of course, as soon as I step down, this man is on the board. You know what I mean? So
The thing that says to me that there is maybe a nefarious undercurrent to this is that the way that these tech billionaires invest is they look for unicorn growth. They look for 10x, 100x return on their investment. Twitter is an established platform with established revenue streams. Even if they tweak some business model stuff and it grows 10%, fine. It does not yield the sort of return that a $2.6 billion investment would ever merit, ever. And so this is a personal thing, not a financial thing. This is not him making a thing for his investment portfolio. It's not. This is literally, it's either ego driven, like he just wants to be able to say, I made Twitter a better experience so everybody loves me, or it's more maybe what Tyler was alluding to at the beginning, where there's like freedom of speech, conservative politics undercurrent that he's trying to advocate for and enable. And he's trying to change the discourse to glean favor from a future administration or something, So it's like, to me, it doesn't make sense financially. This is a personal play. There's no other explanation. So
wow,
what's the personal agenda behind it? That's the thing.
And when you have that much money, you can do whatever you want for your personal agenda.
That's what Tyler pointed out. You got you're going to be close to $1 trillion. $2 billion is like, what we find in our sofa. So whatever, it doesn't affect them at all.
Listen, Elon, I am sorry for calling you Lex Luthor, bro. Like, just look, fam, I got a couple ideas that need investing in. And listen, hey, you could tweet about them all you want. Hey, listen, if I do
make it a personal interest,
the Black Twitter version, we'll call it Blitter. If I do Blitter, you can make an edit button and all of that stuff. Like, just holler at your boy. You know what I'm saying? Hit me with a couple. Look, I don't even need billion, bro. Look, you give me with a little $500,000, bro. I'll be cool, dog. I'm telling you.
Tyler's I was surprised, Jesse. You're not a hardcore Twitter user, like poster. Maybe you're a consumer. But Tyler is a prolific, like he's in the deep trenches of Twitter. And he shocked me when we were talking earlier about it, like how anti-edit button he is. So I was surprised, Jesse, that you also are so strongly anti-edit button.
Well, it's not so much necessarily being anti, other than being like, I don't know how that, like, people who suggest it, I don't know how functional. It seems like a disruption to the core functionality of the platform. You know what I mean? Like, if someone edits their Facebook post, or Facebook post, I can go and look at their edit log, right? And have a note. But
maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll do exactly that you can see it's an edited tweet and you can see what the original versions were.
But what if I retweet a version of something you retweeted today?
But the retweet would say edited, and then the person can see the source and like go back and see.
But like I said, just hypothetically,
what version did you retweet?
Yeah, exactly. If you switch it out to put profanity in there, or put something absurd, or change the meaning of what I retweeted, do I have to go? And then am I just going to be inundated with notifications about, edits that I have to go approve for all my retweets? Look, they might solve it, but I'm just saying, like, it does seem like a disruption to the functionality.
The funniest thing in the world is if a tweet goes like, because you notice, like, there's people that have specialized in making things go viral. And then, and the way I know that is because right below the viral posts, they'll be like, hey, download this thing, or download that thing, or 15% off of this weird thing, or something on Amazon or whatever. I'm like, could you imagine making something go viral and then retweeting it and change it to an ad? You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be really, really problematic. Like, if it's like you make something goes viral and then you like, all right, download my mixtape. You know what I'm saying?
You drop a SoundCloud link in that. Yeah.
It would be crazy. That would be because right now you notice under those posts, like those don't really get a lot of engagement. But if the algorithm just takes off on something that's viral and then you change it to an ad, now your ad has went viral, and that would make the user experience for Twitter not fun at all to me.
That's my issue. Yeah. So Elon, if you're listening, I don't think I'd leave the edit button alone, man. And
like I said, the whole like censorship issue, that works until it doesn't, until your platform's overridden with either, things that are obscene or inflammatory or inciting violence or pornographic. And it's like, somewhere there's a line, right? And at that point, that line, it becomes somewhat arbitrary, right? And the line isn't necessarily to protect the liability of the company. Look, the business of business is business, right? Like, the Silicon Valley, everyone acts like they're some sort of like political ideologues or something. Most of them are pretty libertarian in their worldviews and are the biggest capitalists on the planet, right? Like, most of them get this sort of reputation as, left-leaning. Like, I don't really think most of them are all that concerned about it. I think what their primary concern is what is going to draw people to the platform and keep them there. Right. And their line for what is quote-unquote censored or what they allow or not isn't based on their personal ideological views. They don't want people to lose their platform. And if they know if it's overrun with filth, no one wants to go there. So it's like, the whole idea with kind of censorship, it's more, in my perspective, I think it's more about dollars and cents than sort of enforcing any sort of, morality.
Well, I mean, Facebook's engagement is plummeting if, people under 40, because it's just it's your crazy aunt posting toxic things about news cycles that's ill-informed. And I don't really want to go and engage that content, so I'm just not going to go to Facebook. So it's to your point exactly that, like, if you don't put guardrails on it, it can change your service and change your platform, change your company, and then ultimately drive it into the ground. But how come, if he's all concerned about free speech and right-wing voices, why didn't he just pump $2 billion into Truth Social? It needs some help. It
needs a lot of help right now.
Start.
That stock plummeting.
It's in the ditch. That's what I'm saying. How did that even have a stock? How did that even have an IPO? That's my question is,
Trump, man. If the ex-president, like, if Obama started a social media, God, please, Obama, please don't do this. But if Obama started some sort of social media endeavor or whatever, you gonna not IPO it? Like, nah, it's on, man.
I mean, the fact that Trump himself hasn't posted in weeks because it's not ready for prime time. You know, it's like
he hasn't posted on his own platform.
Elon could help propel that. Yeah. He hasn't posted on his own platform in weeks because the report was that he's angry that it's not ready for prime time and he doesn't want to draw people to it until it's ready. And so he's ignoring it right now.
That's bad.
I mean, I went there. I it's got to be close because I went there the other day and it had a little animated guy with a jackhammer going like this, and it said under construction, and it looked like it was at the finish line to me.
Yeah. All right. What else you got, Tyler?
Clippy popped up. This was we'll trade this with a better story. You know, this is actually probably the cure to what we were talking about here. We're going to talk about Selena Gomez. So Selena was on, she recently appeared on Good Morning America, and she talked about something that she has done for her mental health that has completely turned her life around. She said it's transformed her mental health. And what it is something that none of us are going to do. And it is that she has not been on the internet in 4.5 years. She said,
good for her.
She said, that has changed my life completely. I am happier. I am more present. I connect more with people. It makes me feel normal. So that sounds very good. She's a celebrity, so she has like a team who can handle like the posting of selfies and things like that for her. She can like send those things off to them for them to curate and handle from there. But she doesn't scroll. She's not online. She doesn't go on down the rabbit holes and the doom scrolling that a lot of us do. She stays off of it entirely. And in fact, she's enjoyed it so much that she's started working on her own mental health platform where she can share other mental health tips and tricks that she's found to be useful with by working with a team of other therapists to create some helpful content. She said that growing up in the spotlight has taught me so much. Can't believe that I can't believe where I'm at now mentally. And I love this. I love when people say this. I get very inspired when people say things like this. I just also know that I'm still here. You know, I'm still on the internet. Like Cameron said, I post a lot on Twitter, but it's very inspiring to hear other people talk about it.
Well, we kind of work in jobs that require us to be on the internet. But yeah, I saw a relevant post this last night, and I told my kids about it at dinner, and they were all kind of shocked. Like, what? She's not on the internet? How does she even do that? And I read some of the article to them about her being for her mental health. And so my kids, who were all like, 16, 17, 18, 14, were just like, how is she doing that? And Aaron and I were like, this is awesome. That would be a dream world.
Mm-hmm. So she just doesn't engage with like online content at all, or is it just social media? Did she kind of specify?
She said internet was her language for it. She doesn't go on the internet.
She's probably on email as needed.
Yeah. Sure. But everybody's on the internet.
She probably buys stuff on Amazon. From time to time.
Yeah, but even like news,
but her like
and
screen
stuff.
time, like the screen time notification is very, very low. It's not like what ours is. It's when she gets that Sunday pop up. It's like,
how depressing is that every Sunday? By the way, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? I'm reading like in the moment when I like to read just random stuff at night. While I'm just kind of hanging out. The second screen, a big second screener. And, and in the moment, I'm like, well, this is interesting. I feel like I'm informing myself. And then it's like, I'm reading like, movie recaps of movies I haven't seen and never planned to. Or like just things that are going to add no value to my life. Like, man, there's a lot of hot Morbius takes that I'm interested in. Even though I haven't seen Morbius and I don't plan on it, for some reason, I'm very, very well versed on various takes from film critics. Like, I get her point of like, even if you're not looking at content that is just causing you stress or just bumming you out or causing you body images or all these different things that come from consuming content on the internet.
Body images? What kind of surfing are you doing? You're looking at body images.
Like that,
wait a minute.
Well,
you mean body image issues? Oh.
Yeah. Bodyimages.com. It's just,
oh my God.
No, Clark. Delete.
But even if you're looking at something that doesn't have like a direct correlation with negatively affecting your mental health, right? Like if you're just reading goofy stuff, like it is like, I don't even know how healthy this is. Like, because I'm not hyper present because I'm thinking about something else that I'm kind of reading on my phone. Hey, good for her, man. I don't think it's a practicality for a lot of people's modern lives, but if you can do it, it seems.
But
like
the idea of sabbatical and the idea of Sabbath, I think, can be applied. You know, I know I'm very intentional on vacations and things to completely unplug, be present with my kid. I know, like, I mean, frankly, in the last couple of years, I post maybe once a year. I mean, like, I scroll and I'm obviously involved in relevance posting and stuff like that. But like, I'm not in a moment thinking I should take a picture of this. I used to literally like post clips from every single Magic game. Like I would do stories and things like that, whatever. And my phone was part of the experience. And this year I've taken one picture. I've had my phone out one time. The only time I have my phone out is to find the refs' names for that game. You know, like I don't take pictures with the friends. I don't, whatever, like we're here, you know what I mean? And I've been very conscious of that. And now it's like once you create a new habit, once you kind of detox from something, you just like don't think about going back to it. And I mean, I'm proud of her, but everybody can do. I think Sabbath is healthy. It's a healthy rhythm. I think, taking sabbaticals, take a month off. Like, why not? I mean, it just kind of like detoxes you. Yeah.
Yeah. To take that time even from the internet, you know, like what Selena's doing is, okay, I wish we all could, but like reality, we can't do that. But, you know, like Cameron, like you're saying, when I go out of town this summer with my family, I will take Instagram off my phone. Everything is out. No, for me, it'll be a Sabbath from work and everything. So like no email, no nothing. And I'm really looking forward to it. But I'll be honest with you, I feel a little like, what's that going to be like? So, you know, what am I going to do when we're just sitting around the pool? I guess I'll read a book, you guys. I'll read a book. That's what I'll do. So
wait, with paper? Physical paper?
Yes,
they make those?
Yep.
I thought those were mostly decor in like the shelves at Anthropology. You're telling me people are reading those?
People are still reading them.
Speaking of Selena, real quick, I know we got a lot to get to. I know Mark Wahlberg is waiting patiently.
The Funky Bunch just left. So
they're out of the building. So they're rapidly. We just lost Donnie. I'll say that he's on to another episode of CSI Blue or whatever. But real quick, speaking of Selena. Have you guys watched the series? Shout out, she's great on it, and I'm just about to, I'm finishing it tonight. It's called The Only Murders in the Building, the Hulu series.
Yes.
No,
I think it's great.
Tyler loves it.
If you like just podcasting, right? It is so satisfying to watch as just a fan of the medium of podcasters. I mean, they have scenes where they meet fans of the podcast and have these interesting interactions where they, where fans are mad at them for not releasing on time, or they're trying to meet the expectations of listeners who are trying to craft a show. They're trying to develop their voice and personalities and the interpersonal dynamics. All framed around Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez trying to solve a murder. Fantastic show, especially if you like podcasting or are just interested in it. It's a really fun show, and episodes are relatively short. They're like 26 minutes. I highly recommend. It's on Hulu.
Yeah, Tyler, did you tee him up? Tyler's been doing this at staff meeting for months.
Jesse, I got. Downtown Emily Brown gave me grief on the work Slack yesterday because she says I bring it up all the time. She says I bring it up too much. It's a great show. What do you want me to do?
What's crazy that Emily is, you have really jumped the shark. If Emily, the pop culture queen, is saying you talking about Selena Gomez too much.
Give it 3. Hey, give it 2 or 3 episodes. Tyler, am I right? Is it not wildly entertaining?
Yeah, Liz and I both are huge. We love it. Look, season 2 coming out very shortly. I'm looking forward to it.
I have all the streaming platforms except Hulu because I have cable, so I don't need the Hulu. Yeah. Back in the day, Hulu was about streaming cable shows, and so I just never got Hulu. But man, they're on a run right now of original programming. And I'm like, I might have to get Hulu for a month or so just to catch up. There's a lot of shows like that I actually want to see that's on Hulu.
It's great.
It's crazy. It's kind of rotating. It almost feels like a sport. Remember, Netflix was on a run. Then Amazon hit a nice little stride. Now it's like
Netflix
Hulu's
is down right now.
Apple Plus hit a stride.
Apple
now
came in,
hitting it.
Yep. Hey, Apple Plus is turned into what HBO used to be. HBO was like limited, but everything they put out was award-winning level, and Apple TV Plus is doing that. I love Apple TV Plus. And there's this weird little run right now between Showtime and Apple that they're doing these shows, these dramatic reinterpretations of like these .com boom busts. I mean, like they have We Crashed on Showtime, which I had no clue. I watch this every week. It's Anne Hathaway and the founder of WeWork, played by Jared Leto. I had no idea that was Jared Leto. I mean, he's that transformed in the role. It's crazy. I didn't even know that was him until recently. And then there's also the Uber one on Showtime with Gordon Levitt. Right? Yeah. It's really good too. It's a good little run of shows right now.
The funny thing is, most of these, a lot like the WeWork one, the Elizabeth Holmes one, a handful started as podcast docuseries. Yep. And so it's funny. I was reading some industry thing, and they were talking about how when basically TV creators kind of ran out of ideas, they went to comic books, and it was just old. Well, first it was remakes, right? It was movies. Dusting off old franchises that we haven't seen for TV and movies. Then it was like, okay, let's just every possible comic book character, we'll use that IP. Now they're looking to the world of podcasts, and to an extent, podcast adjacent stuff like Only Murders in the Building as the next sort of IP, gold rush. So it is funny that all of these pods that a lot of people will listen to just cruising around town, you get to see come to life with Hollywood A-listers doing weird voices, which seems to be one of the common threads through most of these shows. You gotta look vaguely like this Silicon Valley person, but you have to have a bizarre accent that even if you have no context for it, just helps make the character even weirder.
In the Uber one, Ariana Huffington, who's on the board of Uber, is played by Uma Thurman, but she's doing the Ariana Huffington accent. So your point is well accepted.
Well,
and Jared Leto, all of them. Yeah.
And even the Annie or whatever, Inventing Anna or whatever, which was a podcast where she told, it's like, I can't even replicate the accent. It's just
weird.
That's part of the formula. Find a Silicon Valley true crime podcast, find a Hollywood A-lister who's willing to do an insane accent, and then chop it into 6 episodes and sell it to a streaming platform is basically the model to make it in Hollywood as a producer right now.
And then go win some awards 11 months later.
Yeah.
All right. That'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Thanks, Tyler, for all the latest. Make sure to follow Relevant on all the socials. We're publishing all day, every day. And you can sign up for our top 5 stories delivered to your inbox every weekday morning at the front page of relevantmagazine.com. Thanks, man. Stay tuned. Up next, Mark Wahlberg joins us.
It goes on and on, and it goes on and on and on again. It goes on.
You're listening to Men I Trust. The song is Sugar. Well, today's show is also brought to you by BetterHelp Online Therapy. People don't always realize that physical symptoms like headaches, teeth grinding, and even digestive issues can be indicators of stress. And let's not forget about doom scrolling, sleeping too little, sleeping too much, undereating, or overeating. Stress affects all of us daily, and it shows up in all kinds of ways. Here's your reminder to take care of yourself, do less, and maybe try some therapy. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. Give it a try and see if online therapy can help lower your stress. And right now, Relevant Podcast listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/relevant. That's BETTERHELP.com/relevant for 10% off your first month. Well, our guest today is Mark Wahlberg, the Oscar-nominated actor and producer, joins us to talk about his new movie, Father Stu, a longtime passion project of his based on the true story of a boxer who became a priest. Our very own Tyler Huckabee talked to Mark about why he fought so hard to get this movie made. Here is our conversation with Mark Wahlberg.
I figured it out.
Yeah, 7th time's a charm.
I'm being an actor.
Oh, God. You don't belong with those LA folks. They're a bunch of fascist hippies.
What brings you here? And I figured no better place to be discovered than the supermarket. Hey, did I see
what about that story really stuck out to you? What about Father Stu's life stuck out to you?
Oh, God, he was just such a colorful character. I mean, all the things that it took him to find his calling. And then when he did, how committed he was. And of course, just knowing that and how I am, it certainly posed lots of challenges to me to do better, to be better. So, and I really couldn't find any reason to not make the movie. I mean, it was just all around great opportunity for me to start doing more of God's work. Selfishly, as an actor, I mean, where do you find a better role to show more range as an actor? I mean, it was kind of like, even though I knew it would be an uphill battle to get it made, I knew that it could be very impactful.
Tell me a little bit about that when you say it's an uphill battle to get it made. What about this story presents a challenge when you're trying to get something like this put together in Hollywood?
Everything. I mean, you try to pitch a movie about a guy who was a fighter. His parents had lost a younger child, didn't know how to cope. Mm-hmm. He goes to LA to become an actor, falls in love with a girl, is just trying to manipulate her into a relationship. She manipulates him into getting baptized. He gets run over by a car, not once but twice, and then he sees Mother Mary, and then he decides he wants to become a priest. And then he dies of a rare disease. Tough pitch. It's not like a superhero movie with, he could build a franchise and, they're not seeing like box office here and lots of potential for spin-offs and stuff. But I got that, and it was just like, all right, I think, it's one of those things where it's not an easy sell when you're pitching it in the room, but once people see the trailer or they see the TV spots, they're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like that before, and it will pique their interest. And then when people want to see it. And then I definitely felt like it was the kind of film that would touch anybody that saw it, because there's such universal themes in the movie, right? Especially people dealing with the unknown, all the whys of the world, and then, of course, mortality, and that being inevitable. Like, how do people handle those things? And to see how Stu handled it, I think people find that very inspiring.
I think God saw something in you worth saving, but it's up to you to decide what you've got to offer.
This is the place you told me you believed in me. I thought it makes sense being back here to do this.
Your son is about to make a huge mistake.
Well, I'm going to be a priest.
For Halloween.
When you're telling a story with these sorts of difficulties, these struggles that don't necessarily have easy answers, it feels, is it hard to make a movie that doesn't necessarily give you the classic Hollywood ending, the way we think of it, the really happy ending? Does that present a challenge? Is that a struggle for you as an actor, for the producers, the script writers?
No, I just try to tell the story in the most truthful way. And I think, considering that, that ending, especially, I mean, us, and everybody facing it being inevitable, that like how you handle that, and that it was still people left on a very emotional high when the movie was over, which was fantastic. And, they felt inspired, and they felt a little bit more hope, and then also challenging them to do a little more and to be a little bit better. Stu had that remarkable way of speaking somebody's language, but then also challenging them, and he's doing that now in very interesting ways to challenge me to do more and do better.
You mentioned that the story maybe has inspired you to try to be a better person, or given you sort of a passion for that. Do you feel like you can relate to his story, relate to his character, his person? Or what's the personal connection for you to him?
Of course. Oh my God, there are so many things. I mean, there's just, the rough upbringing, the kind of continued pursuit of finding your calling, your voice, finding meaning and purpose, and, giving yourself reason to want to do better and be better. I found so many similarities.
What was, once you kind of got the green light to tell this story, what do you feel like were the most important things to get right? Obviously, whenever you tell a true story, there's things that make it into the movie and things that don't. But what were this stuff has to be in there? Well,
telling a movie that spanned, 15, 20 years in 2 hours is not an easy thing to do. So what's in the movie, what's not, what kind of little kind of creative liberties you take to to get to the important bits, all that stuff is a bit of a challenge. But I think you just gotta make sure. And I just want everybody to know what my intentions were, and that they were coming from a pure place. And so even if they didn't necessarily get it, just hopefully give me the benefit of the doubt. So when I could come back with the finished product, they would then understand that, oh my God, no, there was loads of humor, and it was really uplifting ultimately, despite the fact that he, is diagnosed with this incurable disease. I mean, how he handled it with such grace and dignity, and how it really felt like, it brought him closer to God, therefore inspired him to do more. Those are all things that I knew would be there. We just needed to get it right, and thankfully, through Stu and Mary and Jesus' intercession, we were able to deliver.
Are there any, having done it now and having seen it, and also I would assume seeing some people's reactions to the movie, is there any part of this, any scene, any line that really stands out to you as particularly like we really nailed it on that part? That really sums up the whole movie. I can't wait for more audiences to see that part.
No, I really think it works as a whole, because seeing audiences say that they all felt like they could relate to, identify with Stu in a personal way, that's never happened to me with a film before. And, I think the most important thing, just because of what's going on today, is that you're reminding people that nobody's beyond redemption, and you don't want to give up on people. You want to give people hope, and knowing that it's never too late to change and grow, and that they're loved and that they're supported.
Who are you here to visit, sir?
Father Stu.
You and everybody else.
When the man comes around. We shouldn't pray for an easy life, but the strength to endure a difficult one.
That was Mark Wahlberg. For a full-length mag quality feature profile with more of that conversation, it is available right now at relevantmagazine.com exclusively for Relevant Plus subscribers. I told you we were dropping some exclusives throughout the month, and some of our A-list content, premium content, magazine level content is part of that. So Mark Wahlberg kicks that off. If you're a Relevant Plus subscriber, you can get it right there in the Plus section at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to check out Father Stu when it opens in wide release on Easter weekend.
They didn't know, couldn't believe that he changed my soul. Yeah, whoa, they didn't know, couldn't believe that these change got no hope. Got him like, they didn't know, couldn't believe now I'm living so bold. Know it's true in everywhere that I go. Don't understand, don't keep it on the low. Got him like, whoa, they didn't know, couldn't believe that he changed my soul. Yeah, whoa, they didn't know, couldn't believe that these change got no hope. Got him like, they didn't know, couldn't believe now I'm living so bold. Winning within everywhere that I go. Doing the shame, I'm a queen in the law.
You're listening to Wande. The song is They Didn't Know Too. Okay, so a little programming note. Normally, or I guess for a long time, Friday had our feedback segment. You guys, we asked you the question of the week and you told us on Friday. But because we've changed when the shows release and when we record and all this stuff is just different, we used to do it on Friday. And then we moved it to the Tuesday episode. And then now we've changed when shows come out, what order, and when we record and all that stuff. So we decided to move your feedback back to the Friday episode. But when we're recording this episode, this first one, we haven't yet released the last episode. So we have none of your feedback yet because you haven't heard the show yet. Yeah, exactly. So all that to say, we did another audience poll on Relevant this week, and we're going to actually pull from that for this feedback segment. And then starting next week, we'll be on track where you guys' feedback will be part of the show. But earlier this week, we went on social media and asked you guys to tell us your craziest youth group games growing up. If you went to youth group, you played Chubby Bunny, you had some kid crying because of some feat of endurance that he couldn't do. You had all these icebreaker games that youth pastors thought were a good idea ended up traumatizing a lot of you. And so we asked you the craziest youth group games that you experienced, and you hit us up. And here are a few of our favorite replies.
Adam Welty. I don't know what church he was going to. Frankly, I'm unclear what religion he even follows with this one, but sounds awesome. I want to be a part. So we would soak a 3-pack of tennis balls in gasoline. You got me. I'm in. I'm in.
That's interesting.
Okay. Then we'd light them on fire and play hot potato. It wasn't exactly quote unquote sanctioned by the church, but all the youth leaders played. Hey, that sounds pretty sanctioned. That sounds pretty.
Of course, the youth leaders played because they were like 21.
Yeah, this game is called Third Degree Burns. Ready? Go.
It's to remind you that if you hold on to sin, you're going to burn in hell. So you got to release the sin, and then you don't get scorched.
Yeah,
by Satan.
you pass the sin on. You throw the sin at others.
But you get lightly burned by sin if you release it quickly.
Yeah.
If you repent right away.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Jen says this. She said Fear Factor. She said her youth group leader was obsessed with the show and brought pig's blood to drink as a dare. I sat that game out and was told I wasn't modeling good Christian behavior because I did not participate.
What?
Ugh.
Pig's blood.
That's ridiculous.
Was she part of a cult though? That might have been a ceremony.
That sounds like another denomination.
Yeah. See, I have a quick question. Was the youth pastor a fan of Fear Factor or Witches Covens? Because
So Mandy Smith says the one where you pretend to be living in a communist country and have to get from one person's house to the church because without getting caught by all the church dads who are dressed up as bad guys. Mandy, I am sorry because that is traumatizing.
This was like they were trying to act like they were in the underground church or something. What's happening here?
In what country is this? Is this
a communist country?
A communist
country.
No, all those. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, in what year was she alive? What year was she going to youth group?
Yeah, the Cold War kind of ended in the late 80s. So
yeah, I was going to say,
this one comes from Dr. Luchin. So this is a doctor. I don't know if he's an MD doctor or PhD doctor or what, but he
might
said
be like Dr. Dre.
Okay. He said, I once had my students make PB&Js with their feet and then feed them to each other. He's definitely a pastor somewhere, and he was a youth pastor. He has his PhD in biblical theology or something, but he had his kids make sandwiches with their feet. It's so gross.
So you're holding the knife with your toes and you're dipping.
Or you put your toes in the peanut butter jar.
Oh, dude, there's not even a utensil. You're saying toe dip,
I
toe
don't know.
spread.
It feels like that'd be easier.
Wow. Now, question, did they have a foot washing ceremony to cleanse the sins and forgiveness prior to the game? Holy cow.
Yeah.
There's not enough Purell in the world for me to eat that sandwich.
Robbie said it was bobbing for apples in a tub of mayonnaise. Now, look, I don't buy mayonnaise, but this does not seem like they're a good steward of church funds because in order to fill a tub.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many jars of mayonnaise we're talking. I mean, you're talking a Costco run here.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that money could have been used for good, but
we could feed the needy. Or something. No,
I mean, we were talking a few $100s of mayonnaise here coming out of the youth.
We could have made a bunch of turkey sandwiches to pass out.
Yeah,
exactly. You make them with your feet, and even better. Well, you do some with your hand and some with your feet. You can kind of like double the efficiency of the food line.
It basically is Fear Factor status. All of these, they're just awful. They are just terrible.
Guys, there's another feet one. Here's another foot one. Emily Matthews said the youth group hosted a party after the homecoming dance. This is like lame. Like, go to your school's dance and then come here to youth group. Guys had to feed their dates nachos with their feet. What is wrong with these youth pastors and feet?
Abolish youth groups, Derek.
Abolish youth group. That's my official stance. That's my official stance. Abolish youth group.
Or just talk about Jesus and not feet.
Well, there's a lot of feet stories.
There's a lot
in the
of feet
Gospels.
stuff. Let me say this.
That's true, but we're not feeding the 5,000 with our feet.
I'm only going to say this. I'm not going to get weird, but there's a concerning amount of feet stuff in here. A concerning amount.
No,
well, I'm just going to say that. That's all.
We don't know who sent this in, but the reply was tube of death. A clear, flexible tube would be filled with raw eggs, hot sauce, ketchup, pickle juice, and other nasty liquids. Then two people would stand on each end and blow. Whoever got sprayed with the deadly concoction was the loser.
This is terrible.
I mean, that's traumatizing for that middle school kid who's going to get that junk sprayed all over his face in front of his friends. Forever, you're going to be pickle juice egg kid, you know.
But what is the intention of these
pickle
games?
juice, you know what I mean? Like that's
what I'm trying to figure out. Besides torturing the kids.
And he was probably in 6th grade. It was his first day at youth group. And he liked an 8th grade girl. And now he's pickle juice head forever.
And now he's pickle juice forever.
Hey, youth pastor, listen, I got this kid at school, and he's really going through something tough. He's not a believer, and I really believe that he could use the spiritual insights of the gospel to navigate through this difficult time in his life. The problem is he just isn't comfortable coming to church. Do you have any ideas? We can feed him nachos with feet. All right, bring him in. Let's see what we can do.
Okay, but the real question is, we're all grown-ups here, and this all seems disastrous. Does a 7th grade kid actually think this is fun and funny? I mean, that's the bigger question here.
I wouldn't.
But here's the thing.
Not 7th grade, I'd have been like, bro, I'm not coming back here, bro. For real. This is crazy.
I just don't remember a whole lot of things from 7th grade. You know, like you remember trauma, you do, or you, I guess, forget it on purpose. But like the things that stick with you affected you. I had a good 7th grade. I don't remember. These full-grown adults are telling us about specific games that were so traumatic to them.
Yeah,
that they remember it 20 years later, 10 years later.
It's serious. I'm good. I'm a pass.
Come on, youth pastors. Do better.
I feel honestly kind of nauseous just reading these. It's like, dude, I got to eat lunch after we record. Yeah, I will say this: I was gonna have a friend. I was gonna go out to lunch with a friend, and we were gonna feed each other lunch with feet. But the other stuff really disturbs me.
I mean, there's one here. Nick says that he doesn't remember what the game was, but he remembered part of the game was he had to swallow a live goldfish.
That's like, oh my gosh.
Again, he doesn't remember the game. He doesn't remember the sermon. He doesn't remember anything else. He just remembers the trauma of having to swallow a live animal.
You guys, I literally felt a little bit, I'm not going to lie, like I had a gag reflex just now. I thought I'm about to vomit. Like, where does that goldfish go? This is the question. Like, what happens to your body when you put a goldfish in it?
It's just like anything else. It'll die in your stomach acid right away.
Oh gosh,
I did swallow a goldfish one time.
No, you didn't.
Not in youth group, but in college. I spit him back up too. But he was all the way down. It's very terrible and disgusting. And it was.
I literally feel like my mouth is watering right now. Like I can throw up, you guys.
He seemed okay. That's all I'll say.
Wait. You swallowed it, spit it back up, and it was alive still?
Yeah, swimming around.
Oh my gosh.
What were you doing, Jesse?
Did you put it back in his little house?
Huh? It was in a bowl. Listen, this is horrible, right? I'm not defending it, but I did it when I was in college, just goofing, Wait.
Was it your goldfish? Was it your friend's goldfish? Were you trying
I don't even remember how the goldfish was procured, to be honest with you. I just remember there was a goldfish.
And next thing you know, you're swallowing it.
Exactly. It's late at night. You got nothing to do.
Would it be funny if I swallowed the goldfish? Is that kind of how this started?
Like most dumb decisions in college, they start with, wouldn't it be funny if I tried to?
And it was probably 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. And the next thing you know, you're in, you're either eating goldfish or getting suspended.
You were getting suspended?
Oh, you got suspended for that?
Well, not for that. I got it was
not for that.
They didn't have suspended. They had what they call getting campused, which was basic. I don't even know.
It's like getting grounded at a Christian college. Yeah, you can't go out.
I don't even know technically if that's legal, right? Because it's imprisonment. Like they say you cannot leave the dorm. Legally, can they keep me there? I don't know. Like if I were just to walk out, I don't think there would, I don't think they'd keep me. But I got campused a number of times for a number of, it was nothing nefarious. It was just a lot of very dumb pranks.
So at 2 in the morning.
Just walking into random people's rooms, taking their pet, eating it, spitting it back up.
And he was just fine. Fine. What a story. What a story I gave to that rando. What a story. And
2 in the morning, Jesse's swallowing goldfish while Marky Mark's on his
third
workout
selling the other goldfish.
Day.
You will not believe what happened to me last night.
I won't get into all these stories, but yeah, I mean, you have a lot of the idle time at the age of 19 or 18 is very dangerous, especially if goldfish are anywhere in close physical proximity.
Hey, even in the safe confines of a Christian college campus, people like Jesse can find ways to.
There. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an underground society that Jesse formed. Okay, there's more feedback where that came from. We did a compilation of these as an article, as a listicle over at relevantmagazine.com. Go check it out. We actually put it on IG as well. Oh man, we're sorry. And guess what? Youth pastors, do better. Just do better. Teach people about Jesus. Don't give them lifelong scars. All right. So last week, if you recall, I guess last episode, we got talking about Coco, the podcasting monkey or gorilla. And the question of the week on that episode was, give us programming suggestions for the Coco Podcast Network. And you guys have been hitting us up.
I know I was gone, but it's a monkey doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Derek, listen.
I don't remember how we got there, to be honest.
I do. It is the weirdest and funniest show. And I literally was like, Derek wasn't
Cameron,
on
you were
this
crying.
week.
You were laughing so hard.
I was crying. I was laughing so hard. I was like, how do I tell Derek what he missed? I cannot describe this. Derek, you got to listen to the episode. It'll make sense. I didn't know how to tell you. Jesse was in rare form. That's all we got to say. And
this joint went off the rails for real.
Off the rails. So anyway, if you didn't hear the show, go listen to it and reply to that question of the week. We'll bring those on next. Not the next podcast, but the one after that, the Friday/Monday show. Well, before we wrap things up, I'm going to thank Mark Wahlberg for joining us today. Father Stew is in limited release now and will open wide everywhere on Good Friday. This Friday coming up. And again, if you're a Relevant Plus subscriber, make sure to check out your exclusive Mark Wahlberg article that we just dropped. You can find it in the Plus section at relevantmagazine.com. Also, while you're at the site, make sure to check out the spring digital issue of Relevance out now. It features amazing conversations with Ryan Reynolds, Judah and the Lion, Bob Goff, Channing Tatum, Shauna Niequist, Brooke Ligertwood, so much more. It is jam-packed. There's an ad-supported free version available at relevantmagazine.com. And for Relevant Plus subscribers, you can get an enhanced, beautifully designed ad-free version as well. Make sure to find it in your account dashboard. Hey, while you're at the site, don't miss a thing. Make sure to sign up for our daily newsletter. It keeps you in the know about everything going on. Our top 5 stories are sent to you every morning. It's a great way to keep your finger on the pulse. And follow Relevant on all the socials. We're on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, posting every day with the latest stuff the team is putting out. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey. And I just want to leave one quick note to the youth pastors, Real Talk here. I wanted to remind them all of the words of, I believe it was St. Francis of Assisi. Preach the gospel at all times. When necessary, use your feet to scoop up raw mayonnaise and feed it to teenagers. Do great, guys. Do great. All right. See you next week.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
Oh, I'm lost.
But my Derek Miner. All right. We'll see you next time, everybody. Oh, boy.
For listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
So we would soak a 3-pack of tennis balls in gasoline.
Relevant Podcast Network.